What's up, guys? So I missed the Duke game. Playing a Canadian team in Canada. Is this the Air Canada Center? I believe so. Anyway, basically in RJ Barrett's hometown, or 20 minutes away. And pretty exciting for him. And he goes out there and scores 26, 27 points. And Zion Williamson with 29, 27, something like that. 30? I don't know. I don't think these are right. Maybe they are. 30 and 29 points. But very, very, just looking at these highlights against subpar competition. And it's important to remember that, Gershon Yabusele looked like a superstar in the making and a young Larry Johnson or Charles Barkley playing against Chinese competition. So I don't know how much better this competition was right here, this Canadian college basketball competition, than Chinese basketball. I do know Zion Williamson, once again, looks like a young Larry Johnson or Charles Barkley, or more athletic Draymond Green, maybe without the defense, but more scoring, more drivability. Anyway, guys, pretty exciting. And, of course, a lot of wide open dunks and stuff. But I'm starting to picture this guy more and more as he may not be a big-time defensive player, but maybe he will. So a small power forward who kind of does everything, who rebounds more than you would expect, who sets great picks, who's got a great attitude in the locker room. Remember, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist got drafted mostly just because of his great attitude, basically, for a team that really needed an attitude change in the Bobcats or Hornets, whatever they were back then. And so, this guy, he's going to have lots of big dunks that'll get the crowd going. And, yeah, I underrated his ball handling ability. Better ball handler than Yabusele. And more athletic than Yabusele. And probably a harder worker than Yabusele. And maybe he'll have his diet more under control than Yabusele as well. Because part of work ethic is diet discipline, I suppose. So I still think he's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. But, even poor man's LeBron, at least against this level of competition, So, yeah, he's going to have a role in the NBA. He's going to have a role in the NBA. And over the course of a regular season especially, okay, before the playoffs start and people can start game planning more for different spectacular athletes or specimens or whatever. In the regular season, when everybody's going 75% most of the season, and when teams start tanking and it's February, and the good teams are just pacing themselves for the playoffs anyway, like we saw with the Warriors and the Cavaliers, I suppose, last year. A guy who is this strong and this athletic and this energetic is going to be able to run roughshod over regular season competition. And we saw some of that with Ben Simmons last year, where he's just too athletic, too big. And if you're not going to really guard him like crazy, he's just going to bully you and wear you out. And you're just going to want to stand out of the way. You're not going to want to take that contact. You're not going to want to take charges. You're not going to want to really try to box him out when he's just going to run over you. So he's going to have some big-time regular season advantages. And in the playoffs, he may as well, if he continues to be a good rebounder. And one thing that kind of stands out is absolutely no nerves whatsoever, which shows he's probably a pretty big-time player who's going to have good composure in all situations when he gets to the NBA in the regular season and the playoffs. And, this is my first time really watching him in a game. And I didn't even watch him. I just watched highlights. Shit. Anyway, guys, very impressive stuff. Obviously diminutive. But, hey, in this crazy era where we're going to see LeBron James even playing some center next year, who's to say you can't have a 6'7" center? As long as you're not, as long as you're not expecting him to, like we saw Jared Sullinger at 6'8.5" after back surgery, play pretty solid center ball with a high level of skill. And this guy has all the strength or more of Jared Sullinger, but 4 times the athleticism. And he's even showing some of the basketball IQ, feel for the game, and ball handling that Jared Sullinger had. And obviously a 10 times better attitude as well, as of right now. So who's to say you can't have a 6'7"? We got Draymond Green playing a lot of center at 6'8", right? So who's to say? So being able to play center and power forward, that gives him the versatility angle. And, even if he's... Anyway, I got higher hopes for him than I did before. And I got to admit, his personality, his likability factor is sky high, guys. Sky high. There's nothing not to like about this guy's personality. And that's basically really refreshing these days. Although more and more it does appear that, year after year, we get some pretty outstanding personality, high character guys. Jason Tatum stands out. Another Duke guy. Anyway, guys, so RJ Barrett, he looks like a future superstar against this China-level competition. And freaky athleticism, and he's got that versatility to play shooting guard and small forward now in the NBA. And he's 9 months younger than Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish and Trey Jones were both injured for this game, so... But again, we can never underestimate the importance of first impression. And it's not that first impression is more important. It's that we need to be aware that first impression can skew our view of things, right? That's how people ended up thinking that Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball were the top 2 prospects in last year's draft. It had just about everything to do with first impression. It certainly wasn't their NCAA performance or anything like that, right? Or even conference playoffs performance. Had nothing to do with that. And as we saw with Jason Tatum missing the first, 7 games of the Duke season last year, he didn't have a chance to make a first impression until much later. And now we see Cam Reddish missing the first exhibition game, not getting his chance to make that huge first impression like RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson just did. So keep that in mind. But Cam Reddish is going to have to flash some real dominance because, RJ Barrett and his reported work ethic and professionalism, any hole he does have in his game, and I don't even see one right now, he's just going to put that work in to make it a strength instead of a weakness. So, he was making 3-point shots all over the place in this game. And is he going to have any problem developing a 3-point shot? Even if just being a hard worker, it's going to get done. And his touch around the rim, floaters and everything, spinning post-ups is absolutely phenomenal. And he's only going to get better and better as a post-up player. And, we know that post-up was a big part of Kobe Bryant and before him Michael Jordan's game, right? Especially when Michael Jordan got older, it was that post-up dominance. And this guy, RJ Barrett, absolutely looks like a future post-dominant player. And if he's playing shooting guard, he's going to have all the more size advantage. To be a superstar, to be a guy who flashes in these, like real plus-minus type stats as a maybe even a top 20, top 25 player in his first year in the league, So we will see where these guys get drafted. Hopefully the Celtics get Reddish or Barrett, in my opinion, but there's going to be other guys who impress. Celtics might lose the pick entirely. If that Kings pick goes number 1, it goes to the 76ers, guys. Imagine the 76ers with like an RJ Barrett type player. They just whiffed with their last draft pick. Looking back, I'm sure they wish they drafted Michael Porter Jr. right now. Or at least taken Mikal Bridges, right? But anyway, these are just my early thoughts on the first Duke exhibition game. I don't know how I missed it. I just didn't hear about it. It was on ESP freaking N. And I don't get cable, so I got to keep an eye out. They're doing like a Duke tour of Canada, so I have to be looking out for these games. And also keeping in mind that it's going to be against this weak Canadian competition, but I'm dying to get a look at Cam Reddish. But if RJ Barrett is aggressive and he's attracting fouls and getting to the free throw line like a boss, he's got no weaknesses right now, and he's only going to get better, and so it's just going to be ridiculous. Kind of like Jason Tatum last year. No real weaknesses. They tried to invent one and say that he was a bad three-point shooter, but that was always a stretch anyway. And yeah, so who's the better prospect? RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, or Jason Tatum? My first impression is RJ Barrett probably has every bit of the professionalism, work ethic, and confidence that Jason Tatum has. Jason Tatum has the better height, wingspan, that kind of thing, but RJ Barrett probably has a slight athletic advantage, and he's also a lefty, so that's nothing to sleep on either. Jason Tatum probably a more naturally coordinated, skilled, feathery touch type of player, but RJ Barrett, no weaknesses there either, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch for years and years. And you know, Jason Tatum, another guy who could have had a whole career at shooting guard, a 6'9" shooting guard who could shoot over the top of anybody, post anybody up, out rebound anybody at the shooting guard position. But he's got Jaylen Brown there right now. Now maybe in the future sometime we see the Celtics lose both Kyrie Irving, hopefully, and perhaps Terry Rozier as well. Maybe someone throws $25 million a year at Terry Rozier next year, and Celtics don't bid on him, and they decide they're going to start Jaylen Brown at point guard defensively, guarding point guards, Jason Tatum at shooting guard, Gordon Hayward at 3, Al Horford at 4, and Aaron Baines at 5. That's totally doable. And we will see how it plays out. But shooting guard, in my opinion, the future is these guys like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum if he gets to play there, or RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish if they get to play there too. That's the future of the game, is these 6'7" to 6'9", do-it-all, two-way, freakish athletes with all the skills, all the tools, all these Kobe Bryant wannabes with the ridiculous work ethic and the ridiculous skill set and versatility from the freaking age of high school. Unbelievable, these guys coming out. And I can't... Killer duo this year. Killer duo in Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett. And Zion Williamson, no slouch himself either, right? No slouch at all. And just Zion's leadership and likability is going to hold most any team together. Even if he lands on a bad team, he's going to have that positivity and that thrill factor that's going to carry a team through a rebuilding phase. Anyway, my early thoughts on this